Hello everyone. Today's video is to talk about toxic people and how we handle them in everyday life. Who are toxic people? Toxic people are those who are very empty, constantly expecting validation from others, insecure at the core, well within themselves. But to mask these feelings from the outside world, they put on the facade of being the so called aggressive, dominating, and overconfident people. So, are we supposed to be afraid of them? No, we aren't. Because they are in a pitiable, sorry state where they are afraid of themselves. But again, they are necessary evils who we are forced to handle on a daily basis at work, even on a personal front. In this video, I'm going to be discussing my experiences and my learnings on what's the best way to handle toxic people. So, at the core, there's two kinds of toxic people that we meet in everyday life. The first kind of toxic people are those who can actually have an impact on our life, either because they are in positions of power, whom we report to on a daily basis, or they're people who are equals or subordinates whom we are forced to handle on a daily basis. Either way, we are engaged with them on an everyday basis, which basically means that they are a necessary evil and they cannot be bypassed. They need to be dealt with, they need to be handled, and we are forced to coexist with them. The second category of toxic people are those whom we can disregard because they are inconsequential, they do not matter in everyday life. Although they are part of our everyday life, we do not have to think about them all the time because they fall into none of those categories that we discussed before. Neither are they subordinates, nor are they working with us very closely, or nor are they ones we are reporting to on a daily basis. So let's talk about the first category of people. So the toxic people with whom we are forced to work on a daily basis, or we are forced to interact and handle with the issues that they come from. Now, there is a three-step procedure, in my opinion, that we need to take in handling people of this sort. And I also have an example that I'm going to state here. So this procedure has more credibility. There was one such person in my workplace. I don't want to take names here, but he was a typical male chauvinist, a little more experienced and older than I am, and he was just trying to throw his weight around and dominate, and this kind of a person. I'm into management and leadership, so trust me, I meet thousands of such people every day, and if I don't meet them anymore, then I'm bored. So handling them is part of my job. But this one was typical. Now, he was my equivalent, he was my peer, and we were working very closely with each other. So, which basically meant that I had to deal with his issues, grapple with them, and still get my job done. This person, from day one, I kind of identified this person as a problematic person for me. And there was a three-step procedure that I followed in handling this person. And ultimately, what happened is there was a situation where I was caught off guard, and this person created a problem for me. But this three-step procedure actually helped me overcome that problem, get out of it unscathed. And this person, on the other hand, was affected covertly and overtly. So, this is what happened. Day one, when I sensed this, the three-step procedure that I followed was one, identify the power, okay, or the positive aspects or the strong points of this particular person who is being the so-called tough person to handle. In this case, he had a very good rapport with my team, he had a rapport with his team, and also his superior. So those were his positive aspects. Point number two would be to work on your strength. So now you know the enemy's strength. Work on your strength so you're able to be an equal, or able to go above. That way you're able to manage this person and deal with it and win over the situation. So I started building my own army. By that I mean my own supporters, my team, that was very strong towards me, my leaders who started supporting me, and people in positions of power as well, who were able to endorse and say that, hey, Shankari is the right person who can do this job. So I started building my army so I can combat with his strengths and his army. Point number three is to shock the enemy. Shocking the enemy basically means that, hey, when this person gives you a problem, he's going to be expecting you to react in a certain way. But what if you didn't react in that way at all? Then he's going to be surprised. Rather, he's going to be shocked. And when he's shocked, he's not going to react. He doesn't know what to do, and that's going to drive him crazy. So that's the trump card, the last and final, ultimate, strongest weapon that you have against your enemy. So I decided this in my mind. It took me a while to formulate this, put this together in my mind. I decided that, hey, I'm going to be doing this every single time. And whenever there's an issue with this particular guy and I'm forced to deal with that issue, this is the strategy that I'm going to follow. What happened one single day is suddenly this person brought up an issue and he couldn't take my personality anymore because he was expecting me to react in a certain way and I wasn't. And he couldn't take it anymore. So he burst out, he got frustrated. And as I mentioned, he's one of those insecure, empty people from inside seeking validation. So he frustrated and reacted in such a way that, hey, he just shouted out, created an aggressive scenario, and so on. Thanks to COVID and our remote working situations, this happened virtually. However, I had to deal with it because there were more people in that quorum where we were a part of. Now, what I did was rather than cleaning dirty linen in public and handling it right there, I got out of the situation first. And I reached out to people who were part of my army as superiors, people who are in positions of power, who could jump up the situation and save my bag from this particular guy and make him understand that he's the one at fault. So I reached out to them offline, uh, keeping myself totally silent with this particular person. I'm assuming this person, so to say, was living in a bubble saying, hey, she's scared of me now and that I won over and so on and so forth. I didn't even bother about it for the time. I just reached out to these people and I built my side of the story. What happened subsequently is when I had a meeting head on with his superiors, people who are part of my army, who were in power, were able to back me, come to that meeting, and save my back. And the conclusion was that I was right and this person was wrong. And things totally backfired for him. Now, we've discussed two things. We've discussed me understanding his strengths, we've also understood the approach. Thirdly, and the most important, was me giving him the shock reaction. And that was when everything ended smoothly, and my superiors told me that, hey, and his superiors told me as well that, hey, why don't you just reach out to this person and break the ice? I'm sure that came to him as well. So I was quiet for a while. I was calm, I was composed, and he tried to reach out to me in order to break the ice. And he expected that I would be so happy, elated, I'd go running back and break the ice and make everything normal. What I did was very politely told him that, hey, I'm busy and let's talk about this later, and that, I'm having too many things to handle in terms of work. And the beautiful part of it is I never went back to him. It's almost 6 months, 9 months since this issue has happened. And I'm sure somewhere in his mind, he's still thinking about, hey, does she like me? Does she not? Is she plotting a planning against me? Is she talking to someone about me? Is she going to ruin my career? So on and so forth. So, end of the day, he's petrified about me today. And I can see that. I can see that. I can vouch for it because when he interacts with me today, that's with a lot of respect, that's with a lot of fear, that's very polite, that's very cordial, and that's very politically correct. So, my conclusion here is to put it simple. There are two terms that they teach you in management. One is emotional quotient, which is EQ, and the second is intelligent quotient, which is IQ. Always use your intelligent quotient, which is IQ, over your emotional quotient, EQ. And the same can apply to personal life as well. It's just that there's more entanglement of emotions in personal life, But emotions are like salt in a recipe, so don't go overboard on emotions. Intelligence quotient should be the dominating thing which you're able to utilize in your everyday life. And emotional quotient should interfere only where needed, only to the extent where needed. So there needs to be a lot of discernment in that. So always choose IQ over EQ. And for people whom you don't even need to handle in life, sometimes not handling and not reacting at all is also the best reaction. So don't always react, just respond. This is all I had to share. I hope there are a lot of people out there who can benefit from this and handle conflicts more normally in a peaceful manner in their life and win over it. If you're interested, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.